Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome back to Enshrouded. So, I built a castle. I've had this in mind for a little while. I've been wanting to build this for a bit, and I'm really pleased with how this has come out. It's pretty cool, I think. I had the idea that the building system in this game in particular would work quite well for sort of a Norman Keep-inspired castle, the sort of thing you see all over the UK, well, particularly England. There's lots of them in varying states of ruin, and I thought it would make for a solid base for Enshrouded. And I'm quite happy with how it's come out. I think it's pretty defensible on the whole, and it looks pretty cool. And yeah, almost a pity that we don't have base attacks in this game, because I'd be curious to see how it holds up. Yeah, I'm really pleased with how this thing looks overall. Got a cool contrast between the darker castle stone of the outer walls and the lighter limestone of the main keep, and a nice sort of raised area with this plateau. It's come together quite well. So let's have a little look at the map and see where we actually are. Okay, so here we are. Got a good spot for a castle-type build this. I was looking for a nice plateau that would work quite well, and here we have one. I've had to expand it out a little bit and level it off and all that stuff, but it's come out quite well. We've got a little kind of enemy camp just to the north of us there, and there is the Umber Hollow, which is a very, very large map location. This is probably the nearest spot, just to the south of that. Pillars of Creation just over that way to the west a little bit. So yeah, up in the highlands here, it's a pretty good spot. We sort of swing down this way. Frame rates on the map, not great for some reason. Fine in-game, terrible when you're recording. There is the Low Meadows fast travel point, and the Cinder Vault is over towards the bottom left, and Braylin Bridge over that way as well. Okay, so let's take a look around. So, this staircase was actually one of the later additions. I built the main keep and then the walls, and then sort of figured out where the gatehouse was going to be, added the stairs on afterwards. And yeah, the ground here had a bit of a curve to it and a bit of a ramp anyway, so it seemed like a good place to add the stairs. And the terraforming options in this game are pretty darn robust, which really helps this build a lot. So I've got a little sort of parapet on the stairs there to make them a bit more interesting and make it a little bit less likely to fall off. In practical sense, it doesn't actually do anything, but it looks cool. That's the little outpost there, bandit camp or whatever, that's just to the north of us, and there is our main gate. So yeah, definitely no fun to try and assault with a battering ram if you were trying to get into this place, but looks like quite the imposing entrance. Makes me think of Skyrim a little bit, coming up these stairs, but I quite like it. So I went for heavy metal reinforced doors for the outside, and something a little more less ostentatious for the inside of the wood. Got a couple of defensive features in here. Got some arrow slits and a bit of a murder hole up top, so we can, if anybody gets through the front gate, we could deal with them before they can get through the second. That's the theory, anyway. Definitely a feature of real-world castles, but I've tried to include sort of a few defensive features and things like that to make this sort of have the right vibe for a real castle. Not 100%, but you could add more than I've included. There's a point to which realism gets to be kind of detracting from the gameplay element and practicality of the thing, but quite happy with the result overall and found a nice balance. Obviously, sort of for realism, the thing would be probably one type of stone all the way through, but I'm liking the contrast of the limestone for the main keep and the castle stone for the outer walls, and for the ground down here as well. It looks pretty cool, I think. Creates quite the nice visual impression. Yeah, we've got a decent courtyard out here in the Bailey area. Got a whole bunch of plants around here. Mostly these ones are there for decoration. There are some fields around the back that we'll have a look at in a bit for more functional use. We've got a well there, because you need it for growing plants primarily. And from a gameplay standpoint, obviously characters need no drinks handy as well. This is our flame altar. So this is our sort of base marking thing and our fast travel point as well. So quite happy to have that out front. Put a little roof over that, made it a little more of a feature, so it's got to go somewhere. I decided for this one I'd have the various crafters spread out around the castle, as it kind of is a bit more historically appropriate. It kind of fits more with the theme. It's not the most practical from a gameplay standpoint, as you've got a lot more running around to do, but it does look fairly cool. So we've got the blacksmith over here with his little smithy, and didn't quite need as much space as I gave him there, but yeah, it works. Looks good. So let's have a little look inside the walls and the towers here. I'm not going to go all the way around the walls because they are quite extensive, and this is going to go on quite long enough as is, but we'll have a little look. So I've got a few towers around, just at convenient points to sort of cover the gates and cover other areas as well. Again, no base attacks in this game, but it does kind of add to the vibe, doesn't it? Quite happy with how the crenellations work there. Give you just enough cover from any imaginary attackers, and are not so big as to look silly either, so the proportions are good. I'll say, I still think the characters in this game are hobbits, so give me that vibe, but I do quite like the look overall here. View of our little defensive features from top there. I wish I could have put a grate in that hole, but unfortunately it's not something we can build. But there we go. A couple of ladders in here. The ladders are pretty cool. You can get these in and place them wherever you want. And they kind of snap to things, and they're quite effective as well, so those are really well done. Decent view out over my courtyard here. I wanted the balance to sort of clean and functional with a bit of colour and a bit of homeliness to it as well, so that's what the plants are doing. I added this wall after I'd built the keep, or the initial version of the keep. I actually had to pull it down and redo it for visual reasons, but so I built this around the main keep as it was sort of figuring out from there was the way to go, but we've used all of the space up top here and had to break out the rake and the building tools to flatten the ground and expand it out a bit to make this sort of plateau as big as I could get it, because I used a lot of the space. There we go, see the backside and the walls there, and the towers as well. And yeah, really worked hard on the terraforming to expand the space, and I think in hindsight, if I was to do it again, I'd actually go a little bit smaller with the keep. I thought I was going to need the extra space to fit staircases in, things like that. Turned out I really didn't, so I could have gone a bit smaller, and it would have been easier to decorate as well if I had done that. So yeah, definitely rounding the keep down a bit smaller, and then therefore the outside areas as well would have been quite cool. But let's have a little swing around the lower courtyard area before we take a look inside. So we've got a whole bunch of features to take a look at. Added a load of standing torches around, mostly so we've got a bit of light when the sun goes down. You can manage without, but it does add to the effect to make the thing look pretty cool. And it's not over the top with its brightness, but you can see pretty much everything clearly and adds a nice sort of warm vibe, which is really cool once the sun goes down. And another tower over here, and a load of flax plants. These ones again are in for decoration more than function. Here's our little hunter's shack thing. It's where the hunter hangs out with their crafting ventures. Got all of the top tier ones in there, so I'm quite happy about that. Had to run out and pick up a few for a couple of bits and pieces in this build, so we'll pick that one up on stream probably this evening, I hope. Or last night, one or the other, depending on the timing of this. And here we go, around the back. My initial idea for this space was to put a garden around the back of the main keep. And I kind of kept that idea, but I also decided to put my alchemist back here, so there's kind of alchemy-themed plants back here, to a degree anyway, and also sort of visual theme as well. So again, it's still decorative with the fields we'll get to in a sec, but here is our alchemist's little shop, hut thing. There he is, hanging out, loads of books. I used a lot of books in this build. 250, something like that, I think I'd scavenged, and I used them all. In hindsight, I'm wondering whether or not I should put beds in some of these places, or at least in the alchemist spot, but there are servants' quarters we'll have a look at in a bit. So we're going to head through the walls here. As you can see, you can get all the way around inside those double thick walls, and out into our fields via the little postern door. So these are the more functional fields where I've put a lot more crops in with a view to actually having stuff for harvesting and crafting and stuff. It's a nice little look out the back. Obviously the little postern door there at the back is definitely a defensive weakness, and historically accurate one actually as it goes. There's certainly plenty of historical cases where those tiny little back doors have been used to break into castles and resulted in them falling. So kind of historically accurate and practical, because it lets me get out here to a nice couple of fields where I've got a whole load of materials that I actually will be needing. So yeah, quite happy about this. We'll take a little swing back around. I did want to put a second sort of internal door behind this one, so where the other doorway is in front of us there, but the gap's just a little too small and a little too off-centre for the door to kind of fit properly, and it was causing problems, so just a single door on the outer edge works fine now. And there we go. We'll take a little loop around the back here. There's a little bit less going on this side before we head to the front doors again. There's less space. The edge of the plateau is sort of just behind the wall here, so had to be fairly simple. But we need access all the way around for the walls, and it looks pretty cool, I think. Put a little chimney breast there in the back. Say little, it's actually quite huge, but Don't actually need chimneys in this game. The fireplaces do not emit smoke, unlike in, say, Valheim. But, it adds a sense of realism, so I do kind of like that. It means we could kind of recess the fireplaces in and build around them. A little seedling bench down there. Carpenter's workshop over here. Bits and pieces for him there. Fairly simple, but it's a workshop after all rather than a living space. A kiln there as well. So, back to the front here. Let's have a look at the inside. So we've got the door over here, which is sort of the main entrance, but as you can see, that's raised up a little bit, which is in keeping with the Norman Keep vibe we were going for. We're not actually going to head in through here. We're going to take a little detour and go in through the servants' entrance, I suppose. Just duck down here because the basement is a very working area. Head in, get that door behind me. And the first thing we're going to take a look at is behind us here. Behind this stone door is my vault, kind of. I needed somewhere to put all my storage and store all my materials and resources and stuff, and here we go. This is it. At the bottom of the tower, a ton of... They're not the largest, this is the second largest boxes you can get. I kind of unlocked the largest ones just before I finished making this, so it's kind of a bit too late to use them, but lots of blue glowing magic chests so that my workbenches can pull directly from them, and decent amount of storage space. So heading on through this door, we have our servants' quarters, as mentioned before. Pretty basic and dingy down here in the basement, but it's got somewhere for them to sleep. Definitely effective, somewhere for all of our crafters and imaginary servants, I should say. I should say the devs put out a roadmap for Enshrouded very recently. Here's a little bathroom for them to use. Basic, but it's there. The facilities exist. Yeah, the devs put out a roadmap a couple of days ago, which is really cool. Lots of things that they're going to be adding on there. It's a fairly simplistic one, doesn't give a timescale or anything, but yeah, one of the things they are going to add is additional NPCs that you can populate your base with, so that's going to be fun eventually. It would make something like this feel a little bit more occupied, which would be cool. But for now, we've just got our sort of crafting NPCs and myself. So, heading through this door, we have the kitchen. And I knew I was going to have the kitchen down here, but it's still pretty large, even only being half the space. But you see why the space is a bit problematic. Tumbleweeds are a bit problematic as well. Those seem to just blow on through whenever they like, ignoring the solid walls and things. The fog is a bit problematic as well. Kind of wish that wasn't there, but the shrouds is what it is, but the sort of volumetric stuff's a bit more annoying when it seeps into your buildings. So yeah, we've got loads of pots and pans and plates and stuff down here. Well, plates anyway, there's not a lot of pots and pans. On shelves and things, boxes and storage, somewhere to do the washing up. Kind of pantry down here, just where the barrels and boxes down here. A little basic, because we don't have a lot of sort of food storage options. I'd have liked to have placed food on shelves and stuff like that for decorative purposes, but you'll have to fill in the blanks with our imagination, as that's not an option. Here's our main cooking fireplace, along with a couple of ovens either side. It's kind of not quite on centre there, which is a bit unfortunate. I think possibly because I accidentally picked one of them up. But, right by the fireplace kind of makes sense. It's where they'd be. Gives you all of your cooking options in one convenient location. And we've got the farmer there, right by it, because she is also the cook. So that makes sense. We'll head up here into the first of our sort of main thoroughfare towers. This is our main staircase. There's one on the other side, which is very similar and also similarly plain. But that's the sort of main two ways up, and we'll come down via another route in a bit. For now, there is the front door, and this is our main banqueting hall and sort of audience chamber for the imaginary lord of this place. Got a decent bit of headroom. I decided to clear out the next floor up and make a balcony, because, well, there's one less space to try and fill, which was definitely advantageous, and it gives a nice kind of bit of headroom here for this sort of banqueting space. Got quite a cool vibe, I think. A nice posh top table for, I suppose, my character and the imaginary family and retainers and stuff. And then further people who are sort of a bit lower down, further out on the side tables. A couple of bronze chandeliers there to illuminate the place. This place is quite well lit in the evening, and you can see my fireplace built into the chimney. I did try and use a couple of campfires in here so that they could just go directly into the chimney breast, and I thought that would look cool. The idea was fairly cool. Unfortunately, I couldn't place two campfires close enough together. They're not really large enough for the space, so it didn't really look that great, and they burn out very quickly. But I pushed on out and got a few extra bits of material and stuff so that I could Open up the iron and open up fabric so I could put paintings on the wall and the banners as well, which came out quite well. So we'll make our way up this tower. We're going to continue up this one on our journey upwards, but this is help us avoid getting lost. There is our minstrel's gallery. Decent view from up here. Start to see why I wish the volumetric fog wasn't quite so prevalent. Yeah, decent space. The balcony barricade, sort of barrier there, worked quite nicely, I think. I wasn't sure it would, but I'm quite happy in the space. Up and up. Didn't really have a lot to put in these towers on this side. The ones on the back have got a bit more going on, but these ones was a bit more of a struggle, so we've got a bit of empty space. Same up here in the living space for the family here. Yeah, like a lot of the furniture options, it's really, really cool, but we definitely need more stuff to occupy larger builds. This one, it's a little bit too big. It kind of leans back to my favourite thing, which is generally build small, but, you know, you can't really build a small castle, can you? Well, you can, but... And I would, in a future occasion, in some hypothetical rebuild scenario, build a little bit smaller, but still, we have our study and library here, and you're going to see I used a lot of books. Top shelves I've got no books on because, one, I ran out, and two, they're really kind of difficult to actually get anything on the top shelves. You need to get up a little higher, and I've had to put benches down or something to climb on. You just need to get the angle a little better, but this game does allow you to decorate shelves really well, which is quite cool. A little bit more decor around here. I think it comes together quite nicely. Decided to divide this off so it didn't feel quite so over large and open, but I didn't want to put doors in, so we've got the interesting kind of archways going on there. But yeah, we've got a kind of dining space and sort of behind-the-scenes living space for the family here, as opposed to the more public areas downstairs. Make our way back over to the staircase at the tower and head up one more floor. You can see, I thought I was going to need more space for the stairs. Turned out I really didn't, so hence why the walls cut into the towers rather than the other way around. Here is our bedroom space. This one it's really way too big, but on the whole, I managed to squeeze everything in. Filling the space was kind of a nightmare. This room in particular is the reason I wish I'd done it a bit smaller, but, you know, hindsight 2020 and all that. On the other hand, it's got the essentials in here. We've got space to store clothing and things. We've got beds for the adults, beds for the kids. The sort of lack of privacy kind of fits with the medieval vibe that I was going for, because that's kind of the way it was back in the day. And it was just an accepted thing that you had less privacy, so kind of works from that perspective in a historical standpoint, but definitely too big. Oh well. On the whole, quite like it. Got stuck in the door here. That's always slightly awkward. No HUD and, you know, trying to move carefully around. It was kind of inevitable. Happens in Fallout too. There we go. See, the sun's gone down there. And didn't affect the frame rate too much, which is always nice. Hope they were able to get that sorted. Let's open the trapdoor here and head up to the roof, where we have our little towers on top here. We'll climb up the ladder and have a little view from the tippy top in just a second. But as a defensive position, I've not got too much going on in here for that reason. Kind of need things like places to store arrows and things, I figure. But we haven't got them, so we'll have to imagine. Yeah, quite the view from up here. Top of the tower, on top of a plateau, really quite high up. We're what? 5.5 stories, something like that, up in the air at the moment, on top of that plateau. So quite the massive view out here. Very colourful in the evening. We'll drop back down, saves us struggling with the ladder. So we'll have a look at the top here, and then we'll go back down via another tower and pick up the pace a tiny little bit. There's the top of my chimney breast. You can see not much going on the top. To be honest, I don't know what you'd put on the top floor of a castle like this. I really don't know. I did think about putting a secondary flame altar up here because I thought it looked quite cool in the middle, but it would be kind of a nightmare for fast travel reasons and clicking on it on the map. So we decided against that. Yeah, all in all, quite the awesome view from up top. You see down towards the front gate and the blacksmith spot down there. You can see the mountains in the distance as well. The snowy area, I think, is going to be the next biome that the devs add eventually from what I saw on the roadmap. That looks very, very cool. And we'll make our way down the diagonally opposite tower to the one we came up, because there's a couple of extra features in this one. close that behind us. We have a quick peek back through this door. We find ourselves in the bedroom. It's the master beds, the adult beds there. It's actually 2 single beds that are pushed together, and yeah, they're nice and soft on the edges, so you can kind of clip things together to create larger pieces of furniture if you need to, which is quite cool. But in here we have a bathroom. Now I imagine that door really opens outwards, because clipping is a bit of a problem. It either gets in the way of the toilet or it gets in the way that it clips through the bath, so there's not really a win with such a small space as this, but got a nice bronze bathtub and a toilet and a sink there. So, same thing on the opposite side, over by the children's beds. Down here, we've got the same sort of thing. This is the library just behind us here. But no bath down here, rather. But just the toilet facilities. So, yeah. Figured I need to squeeze them in somewhere, and it's not quite the ideal setup, but, well, in terms of historical accuracy, but it works. And in there, we've got another one for the minstrels gallery, and we come down to the ground floor, behind the banqueting hall, and we've got another toilet facility there as well. So we'll pop back in here and find ourselves back on the ground floor in the banqueting hall on the other side to where we started. So yeah, pretty pleased with how this came out. All in all, it's got that right kind of castle vibe. Most of the major features are there. Scale is a bit too large, should have made it a bit smaller. But by the time I had realised that I'd gone way too big and hadn't needed to make things like the towers as big, which is really what informed the size, it was way too late to be starting over. It already took more than long enough to put together as it was. So I would say knock maybe 2 squares off and 1 square off, depending on which side you're looking at, just to shrink the whole thing, main centre of the castle down. If you were going to do something yourself, just build it a little bit more small. As, yeah, the staircase really doesn't... The towers don't need to be as big for the stairs and things, and, yeah. It would make life a little bit easier. But, all in all, I'm pretty happy with the visuals on this one. Pretty happy with it came out. It functions well as a player base. There's a bit of running around because of the size of it, but it looks pretty cool, I think. All in all, quite chuffed with the vibe. Now, let's make our way back out the main entrance and down the stairs. Have a little look from the bottom. Big old castle a tour around this one. Quite pleased. Down my Skyrim stairs. So, I hope you folks enjoyed that one. If you did, please consider dropping subs and likes. We've got a couple of other Enshrouded builds, a few other survival crafting games that we're playing as well at the moment. Nightingale in particular, which we'll be doing a few builds on that if you're interested in that sort of thing. Keep an eye out. We've been playing a bit of Pacific Drive on stream if you want to take a look at something with a very different vibe on still a survival game, but very different. You're building cars up, or a car rather than base building, which is a really cool take. Definitely recommend taking a look at that one. And yeah, of course, Fallout will be coming back into action very, very soon as well. Definitely enjoying Fallout 76 too. So keep an eye out for all that good stuff. As always, likes, subs, notification bell, all that good stuff. Social media links down below as well as the merch store and channel memberships on the blue join button if you'd like to support the channel that way as well. It really, really helps out and I hugely appreciate it. But for now, I'll say a massive thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.